right, everyone, welcome back to the world of cinematics. It's been a little while, but we're going to hopefully get started on more regular uploads and videos soon. We're actually going to start broadcasting live. We were going to start that today, but due to technical difficulties, we're just going to don't look like that, Robert. Don't make that face at me in the the cold vacuum of space. Don't make me feel bad. Yeah, you're apparently in space. No one can hear you echo because you're echoing quite a bit.
Well,
But,
I'm in heaven
yes, that's true.
and back on Earth.
You're looking down on us. Okay. So yeah, we're going to try uploading, or not uploading. We're going to upload this, and we're going to try broadcasting live starting next week. We're going to start trying about 6:30 on Thursdays. We'll see if we can play around with that timing, find whatever works best, but somewhere around then. But in the meantime, we are going to talk about a few different fun things today. There's been a lot of big trailers have dropped recently in the last few days, and so we want to talk about a few of our favorites. So with that off the bat, Robert, let's talk about Batman.
Yes. Yes. Oh man, I'm so excited. I have been looking forward to actually seeing ever since the teaser trailer. I've been looking forward to this trailer to drop, and I've been really excited to see what Robert Edward could pull off. Pattinson, thank you. I want to keep saying Patterson.
No, with a B, Pattinson, because he's Batman.
Oh,
because we had Batfleck, so it's Pattinson.
I had to think of that. Am I dyslexic? I've been reading it wrong.
Yes, but that's besides the point.
Hey, that's not very kosher of you. Wait. Anyways, I'm gonna get called out on that, and someone's gonna be like, "Hey, that's insensitive." Well, yeah. But yeah. Anyways, I'm pretty excited. I think he's so far in the trailer pulls it off really well. Part of me doesn't want to get my hopes up too high, just because we've seen really awesome trailers before, and the movie's just kind of like meh.
Yeah.
But yeah, from what I'm seeing so far, and the fact that they're actually using the Riddler is super nice, because the Riddler we haven't seen since Jim Carrey. Was it Jim Carrey who played the Riddler?
Batman Forever in 1995, I think it was.
Yeah, so 26 years old. I'm 25. That was a 96 babe. Oh, did you said 95? I think it
was right? 95. Yeah.
Okay. I was making sure I was getting my years mixed up. But yeah, we haven't seen the Riddler actually used since then in a live action movie. We've seen him in like DC cartoons and stuff, but not in...
Sure. But even then, we saw him as a goofy, zany character then. And like, I love Riddler when he's goofy and zany. I also love him when he's like, ooh, look at this brilliant plan I've concocted. But this is something even past that. It's, I'm a freaking serial killer. I'm going to kill all these people, tell you that I got away with it, but you'll have no proof whatsoever. Come at me.
Yeah, it's funny because honestly, and one thing I'm excited about with that idea is we get to see the more detective side of Batman. Because if you look at Ben Affleck, it's like, oh, this dude's a brawler, freaking ninja. And then same with Christian Bale. It was less detective Batman versus, oh, he's just a guy who knows what he's doing.
His detective work was put most on display in The Dark Knight, but even then, it's like, I'm going to pull out a brick and analyze fingerprints from a shattered bullet, not I need to deduce what happened. It's, I have a magic machine that will tell me what happened.
Yeah. I have a butler.
And you look at a lot of those Batmans, what you were talking about, just being brawlers, just I beat people up. That's kind of what this Batman is doing. He hasn't been Batman for very long, but all he's needed to do is beat up random people. And all of a sudden, he's put in a situation where no matter how much he beats up Riddler, not going to help him. He needs to be a detective. He needs to step up his game and give us what we've never seen in Batman on screen before.
And he's more intimidating too, because he still hasn't gotten into the way things go for Batman. Because during the DC broadcast, Robert actually said, he's like, this is a point where, is he Bruce or is he Batman? Which person? What is he?
Yeah,
Because in the older, as Batman, as you see him progress, he becomes Batman under the cover of Bruce Wayne, not the other way around.
right.
So it's kind of cool to see, and I gotta say, seeing him walk through the hallway. If you guys haven't seen the trailer, go watch it. Seeing him walk through the hallway while they're trying to light him up with machine guns, it's so cool.
Is that your favorite moment?
I think my favorite moment's right at the end where the guy blows him up and he's like, I got him. And then you
Yeah,
just see
Penguin
him.
looks great.
Yeah. Yeah. When you see him walk out and he just starts walking towards him, it's like, oh no,
Yeah,
you're doomed. Like that's
and I,
Penguin gets the raw end of the deals of all the criminals.
the cinematographer for the movie, his name is, I don't know how to say it right. It's Greg Fraser. He's also the cinematographer for Dune, which I'm very excited to be seeing later tonight. And
Oh,
for
that's right.
Rogue,
That does release, doesn't it?
yeah, I'm very excited. But he was also the cinematographer for Rogue One, and I mean that movie had incredible visuals. So if you were to tell someone, "Hey, Batman walks out of a fire," you're like, "Okay, cool." But then you see, how it's framed, upside down, walking towards the wreckage of a car. He looks like a slasher horror movie villain. He's just unstoppable, coming for the criminals of Gotham at night. But also the fact that he's upside down puts you in the Penguin's shoes. You're like, oh crap, he's coming. But you also get the image of an upside down bat because he's a bat hanging upside down.
Because he's Batman.
It was brilliant. It was just in terms of the cinematography, the framing, I loved it. I'm very excited. I a trailer does a lot of things. It's marketing. It's basically just an advertisement for a movie. But for me, the three things that a trailer needs to do is it needs to excite you, and this made me a lot more excited for the movie, and I was already excited. The next, I think it needs to kind of give you the tone of the movie. Like if we go and watch the movie and it's like a slapstick comedy, I mean, it could be the greatest slapstick comedy in the world. It's going to rub people the wrong way after the trailers we saw. And then the third one, we need to know, like, they shouldn't give everything away, but we should know the basic idea of what it's about. We got a Riddler killer, an inexperienced Batman who has to step up his game. We have the basic pitch. We're all excited. We know what it's going to feel like roughly. I mean, A+ trailer.
Yeah. And it's funny because we were talking about when we watched it during the live stream. It was like, because I like the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer. It was
Yeah.
fun. I'm excited for it, but the Batman one it blew me away. It's different than what we have seen, and it kept me on the edge of my seat. And it was a trailer.
Right.
I was like, I'm excited to see where this goes.
Yeah.
And the trailer really does set the tone because you have some trailers out there where they only show the good stuff that happened in the movie and doesn't really give you any thought like, yeah, I guess I'll go see it. And when you watch
Yeah.
it, like, yeah, that's coming. That's kind of how the first Suicide Squad was.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was like, this is a great trailer. It looks fun. You go to watch, you're like, oh, I was expecting Joker,
Right.
not Flash.
Right.
And
Mhm.
then you have this trailer, which gets you excited, gets you wondering what's going to actually happen in the movie, and you want to go see it because it gets you on the edge of your seat. Like, what is happening with the Riddler? There's that scene where Batman's slamming on the prison window. He's like, "What you do?" If you didn't know,
Yeah.
that's what he said. We watched it like a bajillion times. But he said, "What did you do?" And it's like, well, who's he talking to? Is he talking to Joker?
I'm
Is he talking
guessing
to Riddler?
Riddler, but who knows?
Yeah, that's the thing. Is like, do we know? It didn't look like Riddler when they were like, because I got a clip of his hair in there.
Right.
I couldn't tell. So
Hmm.
that trailer is getting me to want to go see it.
Yeah. Yeah. They cast a great guy for Riddler. He hasn't really been in a lot of big things I can think of off the top of my head. You know, when I think of Paul Dano, I think of like There Will Be Blood with Daniel Day-Lewis, or I think of Swiss Army Man, where he plays a guy on a deserted island, and his best friend is a corpse played by Daniel Radcliffe. It's he does lots of really weird movies, but he's always stellar in them. So I'm really looking forward to his Riddler.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited for that.
Mhm.
Who's playing Alfred?
That's Andy Serkis.
It is Andy Serkis. Okay, he's not wearing all his dots.
No,
All his
no, he's
mocap
not.
stuff. Yeah, I saw him.
He's rocking the Alfred beard.
Yeah, yeah. I'm waiting for him to yell at Batman. No, but that's wishful thinking. I'm excited for that too. They got a lot of good actors.
Oh yeah, yeah. And Colin Farrell's unrecognizable. Zoe Kravitz looks like she's going to be great. And oh gosh, real quick, I gotta say, so there's been a bit of a controversy online lately. You know, people are trying to attack Elizabeth Olsen for, you know, not being excited for Zoe Kravitz's Catwoman or something like that. Because she said, look, there's only one Catwoman, and that's Michelle Pfeiffer, right? Which, hey, Michelle Pfeiffer was fantastic as Catwoman. But people are saying, oh, she's racist because Zoe Kravitz is black and she's going to be Catwoman. But you're saying it was from an interview from 10 years ago, before Anne Hathaway was Catwoman, before Zoe Kravitz was Catwoman. Everyone, the only people who played Catwoman were Michelle Pfeiffer and Halle Berry. And Halle Berry accepted the Razzies for Catwoman. So even she knows it was bad. So yeah, Michelle Pfeiffer was great. It's a high bar to beat. Zoe Kravitz could. We'll see. Either way, I'm very excited.
I remember Michael Keaton. They're like, "So what do you feel?" He's like, "I'm Batman."
Yeah,
I am Batman.
Mm-hmm.
So people take their roles. I mean, look at Tony Stark. That's how good his role is. Tony Stark. Robert Downey Jr. He is Iron Man. Like you got some people who play the character really well. Some people may take the spot later down the road, and it doesn't mean they're not going to do a good job. It's just that there's going to be expectation, and honestly, if you do a good job, okay, awesome. People are still going to remember that role, but we're going to like your role too.
Like a few years ago on the red carpet for Ford v Ferrari, they had just announced that Robert Pattinson was going to be Batman, and Christian Bale, he was in Ford v Ferrari, and he hadn't heard the news yet because it had just been like just that day or something like that. So one of the reporters asks him, "Hey, have you heard about the new Batman? He's going to be Robert Pattinson." And he looks up, "Oh, excellent choice. Have you seen High Life? Have you seen Good Time? He's a great actor. I can't wait to see what he does as Batman." And honestly, I mean, they got a good guy. Let's give him a shot. And that goes for everyone.
You got to think too. I mean, these actors that we put them on such a pedestal. The reality is, they're just like they like movies. I mean, heck, that's why they make them. They love movies.
Yeah.
So they have their favorite actors they like to hang out with. Heck, Mark Ruffalo, he going on tour with all these guys from the Avengers, and he's taking pictures of them. There's so many memes where it's like, does Mark Ruffalo know he's famous too?
He knows it. He doesn't always act like it.
Yeah, I noticed that. I follow him on Instagram, and some of the things he does, I'm like,
yeah.
All right.
Well, keeping in mind, people's expectations regarding roles and characters, do we want to move on to the other trailer we want to talk about?
Yes, yeah. I mean, we're talking about Marvel, so this kind of slips in as well, specifically an individual.
Yep, Antonio Banderas. Come on.
You want me to jump into it, or are you gonna?
I mean, hey, you know more about it than I do.
That's
I've only just seen most of my experiences watching that trailer and watching other people play.
Well, for our folks at home, he falls out of the sky quite frequently. It's Tom Holland. Think about it. Yeah, it's Spider-Man. What does he do? He falls from the sky. And Uncharted, he falls off everything. Yeah, I know because I love the games. They are great games. Highly recommend it, especially if you love story and puzzle games. It does a great job. Gunplay, I'm picky on gunplay. So I mean, kind of hard to please me on that one. But they still do a pretty good job. But yeah, Uncharted. So it's been a game series for how many years has it been a game series? You know what? I got Google right here.
I'm not sure. I don't know. While you're looking that up, I'll give my general thoughts on it. I think Tom Holland is an excellent actor. You know, he's not just Spider-Man, but even as Spider-Man, he's given a pretty good performance. But I was a little nervous that he was going to come off as, like a high school Nathan Drake, which he's not supposed to be. He is playing a younger Nathan Drake than we've seen, but he's supposed to be a young man, but a young man, not a boy, not a teenager. And watching it, I definitely got the vibe that he was a young man. He wasn't a boy. He didn't feel like Spider-Man. He felt like a completely different character, and seemed like he had good chemistry with Mark Ruffalo. There was one moment in the trailer where I'm just like, I don't know. It's he's jumping like from crate to crate, and that was all fine. Then he jumps off falling crates into the back of a moving airplane. Like that sucker is probably going 500-600 miles per hour. You just jumped in. I mean, that's like Fast and the Furious territory. Like Fast and Furious 9, and this is Uncharted 1. What are we doing? But then later in the trailer shows like right after he jumps in, he gets hit by a car that's falling out. I'm like, okay, I'll let it pass. I'll forgive you.
Yeah, it's funny because it's like that is such a Nathan Drake thing to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like in all the games, like he does something so literally by science physically impossible.
Yeah.
But then something happens like, oh, all right. That was
Yep.
kind of so yeah, the first game was 2007, it looks like.
All
And
right.
the newest game is 2017. Mind you, this is not counting the remasters that they've done.
Right.
But yeah, big game. And it's been going on for a while. And honestly, after playing those games, I think Tom Holland, I mean, watching the trailer, he is definitely got the kind of personality that Nathan Drake has. He's a sarcastic guy who just gets himself into rough situations, but he loves a good puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
And he's generally a good guy.
Mhm.
And I just, from what I saw in the trailer, it looked fun. Like he looked excited when he saw the boat when he came out. Like, look at that.
Yeah.
Looked excited to do puzzles, and it
Yeah.
was good. I'm really curious though. I mentioned this to Jed right before the show, but I'm curious if Tom Holland has actually played the Uncharted games, because like Henry Cavill, I said that right? Cavill, right?
I think so. I don't know.
Cavill. I'll be corrected. I'm pretty sure. But
Yes, one person will correct you, and then because it's the internet, everyone will see that one person has corrected you. It won't be that 1,000 people will all say, "Actually, it's pronounced this way." No, he said it right. The internet is very, very helpful in these matters. Trust us.
oh yeah, but if you try to do like the Webster Dictionary pronunciation guide, ain't gonna happen. I am terrible at those. I'm like,
Nope.
am I saying something in French or
Mm,
is it Greek?
yeah.
But yeah. Anyways, he loved The Witcher, Witcher movies or not what movies? Games.
The books, games.
And then when he got asked to be on the TV show, he's like, yeah,
I mean, he did a lot of campaigning to get the role.
yeah. So I mean, he did a great job, and it was funny because every time he was on an interview about he would just geek out about like, oh yeah, so here's about the lore of The Witcher because he loves it so
Yeah.
much. So that's why I'm hoping. And he brought, from what I've heard, I haven't actually watched The Witcher, but from what I've seen, he's actually done really well playing Geralt.
Mm,
I'm hoping that will kind of be the same case for Tom Holland, because the problem is with doing a lot of these video games to movies,
right.
as we've seen before, it can kind of destroy it. I think Sonic did an okay job.
Mhm.
Wasn't
It's
perfect by any means, but it did pretty good.
it's probably been the best video game movie so far. Not
Mhm.
that that's saying much, but
Mario
it was
Bros.
all right.
That's you.
Although I gotta say, Mortal Kombat, its theme, may be the greatest thing from any video game movie ever. That theme is amazing.
I can
Like
agree with that. I can agree with that.
when you listen to it, you don't know if you want to dance or if you want to rip somebody's guts out. So it's perfect.
Why not both? There's characters who do both.
Yes, we'll do a West Side Story dance fighting.
You hear Footloose in the background as Wolverine's claws tearing out somebody.
Yes, yes.
Footloose, lungs gone.
I mean, you
Oh,
could
one
just play
time,
that in a random crowd, and it'd be like a flash mob, except it would just instead of everyone dancing, everyone starts attacking and killing each other,
yeah, flesh mob.
just with that scream, "Mortal Kombat!" Oh, it'd be fantastic.
You're gonna hear that one guy. Get over here. All right,
All right,
I'm gonna grab my drink real quick. I realized
all
it's
right.
right.
While he's grabbing his drink, we're going to move on to our next topic, or the main topic of the broadcast today. We're going to be talking about movies that are saved by the ending. Now, I don't think that a movie that's saved by the ending is necessarily a bad movie that becomes good. Sometimes it's an okay movie that becomes good. Just something where the movie, the ending changes your view on the movie entirely. Whether that's reframing things from throughout the movie, or whether it's, oh, I forgot the rest of that movie because man, that ending was so awesome. So I mean,
Okay.
like, yeah, I mean, it's the ending is arguably the most important part of the movie. It's it's a good lesson talking about these movies. Don't write off a movie until it's over. You might be in a movie that you just want to walk out. It's awful, it's terrible. But then the last 30 seconds or the last scene or something like that changes everything. And you wouldn't know if you didn't stick around.
Yeah, and the thing is too is that you can wrap up even if it is a good movie, you can ruin it if you screw up the ending.
Right, right. Just, I mean, we could talk for an hour about that in particular. I mean, hey, maybe we should next week. Tell us in the comments.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're going to start talking about some of our favorite movies that we think were saved by the ending. Do you want to start off by choosing one from that list we wrote up?
Yeah, I'm actually going to go ahead and start with the straight story. The reason why is because I just recently watched it when Jed sent me this list. I was going through like, okay, which ones have I not seen? And the straight story, it's on Disney Plus. It's an old movie, very slow paced. When I say very slow, I mean it's a 73-year-old man on a mower traveling
Traveling
200.
like it was like 400 miles or something like that.
I
And
actually looked it up, and it's based on a true story. Oh, it went
yeah,
dark here.
it feels like you're with him every single mile of the journey. It is so long. I mean, it's not a long movie. It's what? It's like 100 minutes, something like that. But it
Yeah,
feels
it's
like you
100.
feel every second of it.
It's 1 hour and 52 minutes, not 100.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's is a biographical road drama,
Yeah.
but it was based off of this man who went from with a mower from Iowa to Wisconsin. And if you want to look up at a map, you can because that's pretty far away. But he set off. Actually, it says it right here. He set off 240 miles. For those in the UK, it's 390 kilometers. Wow, so
Kilometers. Yeah. Say
not
however you want.
kilometers. Kill those meters.
Yes.
Why did we have to learn? Why can't we learn the metric system? Sorry, I had to
All
complain.
right.
But yeah,
Yeah.
230 miles, and it's slow.
Yeah,
Very slow.
it's real slow. Like there are nice things that happen throughout the movie, like they talk in a bar and they have a really nice touching conversation. He the lawnmower breaks down and some people help him. He sees a young girl who needs help and he helps her. It's all heartwarming stuff, but it's just so boring. And do we want to give a spoiler warning, talk about the ending here?
Yes, but let's go ahead and lead up to it though, because we didn't
Okay.
actually explain why he's
Right.
leaving.
Yeah, we need to. Yeah, we need to talk about the premise. Why is he leaving? Why is he driving 240 miles on his lawnmower?
So it's actually kind of funny because he biffed it and went to the doctor just to find out he needed all these issues. But then he got a call. His daughter answered the phone, and his brother, who he hasn't seen for what was it, 10 years, roughly
Something like
10
that.
years.
They had a falling out and haven't spoken or seen each other in years.
And so his brother had a stroke, got the call. He realizes that both their times are coming closer. So he's like, I'm going to take a road trip, but because he's old, blind, and crippled, he can't really get a license. So he hooks up a lawnmower to a trailer and makes his long journey to go see his brother. And now here comes a spoiler warning. Go ahead, Jack.
Yeah, okay. So I don't know, put my hands up or I'll put my hand down when the spoilers are over. So, before we put it up, if you want to see it, it is a textbook case of the movie saved by the ending. It can change how you look at film. It's great. It's done by one of my favorite directors ever, David Lynch. It's rated G. That you don't see that anymore. And yeah, it's great. Go watch it. All right, you ready? All right. let's go. So, the very end, he talks to his brother. He just pulls up as an old rickety shack. His brother, played by Harry Dean Stanton, who I love, and a great performance for like 45 seconds. He's like, "Hey, is that you?" "Yeah." They just sit on the porch. He looks at the lawnmower. "Did you drive that all the way here just to see me?" And what does he say, Robert?
Yep. Yes, I did, Lick. Yes, I did.
Roll credits. And spoilers over, but man, all the tedium, all the, oh my gosh, he's still going, this is so boring, we're still waiting, all that exhaustion, that's the point. To make us say, it's worth it.
Mm-hmm. And not to mention, I love the way they do end it. Is it's that transition up to the stars.
Yeah.
Because he actually mentions that to a reverend.
I think so. Yeah.
Mentions that to a reverend he meets along the way, that he wants to just go see his brother and sit and watch the stars like they did when they were younger. And
yeah,
that's how they ended the movie. That wasn't a huge spoiler, right?
No. Yeah, spoiler. Then he sees his brother. Although, man, that would be a
dead or alive.
That would be a gut punch if he got there and he was dead.
Looks at him, closes his eyes, look up at the stars. Well, that's unfortunate.
Sees like a ghost Mufasa version of his brother talking to him.
With a beard. Why don't you get over here sooner?
Be a very different movie.
Yeah, that goes to show how important the ending is.
Yeah.
You could totally goof it and just be like, oh yeah, he did. You want to visit him?
All right. I mean, love straight story. I don't know if I have anything else I want to say about it now. I just end up repeating myself. Anything else you want to say?
Yes, John Deere tractors are good, or mowers are good, but their tractors are better.
Yes.
I say that as a guy who works in rec and actually used a lot of John Deere mowers. They're good. They're durable. Not meant for long distance travel.
No, they are not. Although, how many lawnmowers are? Let's be real. Exactly. All right. We'll move on.
How far I could go with one of them.
All right. I'll choose another movie from this list of ours. The Usual Suspects. Now, The Usual Suspects, for those of you who don't know, it was directed by I forgot the name of it. He's the guy who directed the first few X-Men movies. He also directed Days of Future Past. He directed Superman Returns.
Bryan Singer.
That's it. Thank you. This was like the big movie that put him on the map. You get a whole bunch of people. You get an amazing cast of character actors, and the idea is they were all involved in a job together, a criminal job together, and it went bad. It went south. It was arranged by this mysterious guy who's never been seen. He always kills people, whoever who saw him at the crime. He's this master genius whose name is Kaiser Soze. And the police really want to catch Kaiser Soze. So what they do, they grab one of the guys on the job, and he's played by Kevin Spacey. He's like this small, kind of wimpy guy. He's got a limp. He's just a loser. Like, kind of weird how he got in there with all those really fun criminals, like Benicio del Toro's in there. They're all fun. They're great. And they say, hey, look, we'll offer you immunity. Tell us what happened. Sell everyone out. Because they want Kaiser Soze. They want anything they can do to catch him, right? And so he tells the story, and the whole movie is just him telling a story about the guy who hired them, who's an intermediary, or the job they did, what they stole, all these other things. And it's fine. It's funny. The cast has good chemistry together. Kevin Spacey puts in a good performance, but it's not really anything special. And it's certainly not a big noteworthy movie that would put Bryan Singer on the board and get him the job of directing X-Men. But then there's that ending. So I raise my hand. In 3, 2, 1, we got spoilers. He gets immunity. The police say, okay, great, thanks, you can go. And the detective who was interviewing him, he starts thinking about, all the different elements of the story, about how, they were hired by a Mr. Kobayashi, very Japanese name, even though the guy was white. Then he's looking around his room and he sees a mug that was made by Kobayashi Limited or something like that. And he starts looking around the room. Every single name or place or whatever is on something in that room. This little weasel, this little guy who was selling them out for immunity, made up every single detail of that story. And you see him walking away with his little limp, and you hear him narrating something he had said earlier in the movie. The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he doesn't exist. And as he's walking away, the limp disappears. He's walking normally. Because Verbal Kintz, this character, he's not some loser. He's not a weasel. He is Kaiser Soze. He went in there, made up a yarn to get immunity, and walked out of there. And it ends with a shot of Kevin Spacey from earlier in the film. He's going to come into your life, and then he's gone. End credits. It changes how you see everything. Every single word in the film is changed by that ending monologue, by that ending. It's fantastic. It's amazing. It's a great twist ending, but beyond just being a twist that makes you say, wow, that's really cool, it changes the movie.
Yeah, I remember when I was reading through it, because I haven't watched the movie, but I read kind of the
It's on
plot.
VidAngel. You should watch it. I think it's on Amazon Prime, so.
Okay. Yeah, I'll probably have to watch it because reading it, I mean, I was caught off guard trying reading it out, and I'm like, wait, what do you mean?
Right?
All made up.
Oh,
Just blew my mind. And I was like, that's because I personally love movies and shows that have that mystery to it of like, okay, who is this? And then it twists at the end. Like I love it's not as fun when you just automatically know, like,
right.
this guy.
I've spoiled the movie for you. Even on rewatch, the movie's great because if you don't know the twist, it's a bit of a boring. It's fun, it's fine, but it's not as great a movie. But then the twist changes everything. But then if you know the twist and you watch it, everything you're like, oh my gosh, that's this, that's that. You start connecting all the dots. It's a fun experience either way.
That's probably why I like those movies so much because they're so rewatchable. It's like, oh, I didn't watch that.
Uh-huh.
Which, by the way, if you're writing a story, got to throw this out there. Hope you don't mind, Jed. When you're writing a story, it's always good to have an entire timeline lined out because then you can do that. You can be like, okay, here's how I want it to end. Now, what can I do to make it first come to that, but also add things to kind of hint at it the whole time? Foreshadowing is such a huge.
Start sprinkling little connections.
Because how often do we see in modern movies where they don't do that? It's not a bad film. Like, honestly, I feel like Marvel does that a lot. Like with their movies, where it's
honestly,
like, it's fun to watch, but I don't really care about going back and watching it again personally.
A lot of Disney movies recently have done the villain is a twist surprise, the end of the second act, beginning of the third act, or even sometimes when there's just like 5 minutes left. And it just makes for really boring villains. Like, who cares about Hans in Frozen? Who cares about the lamb in Zootopia? I can't even remember the lamb's name.
Little Mayor. I don't know.
Exactly. Yeah. There was a Big Hero 6. I can't even remember the villain's name, and that is just lots of really boring villains. If you're going to do a twist villain, you have to set it up.
I did like Agatha. I did like her as a.
Yeah, that was nice. Because again, there were little things sprinkled all throughout. How she seems to be aware that they're in a TV show and no one else does. If you listen to, and you remember the 7th episode when it's the documentary style, she's the person behind the camera asking people questions.
Yeah, that was
lots of little things like that.
Back through, right?
Where what?
Where Vision got put back through after he met with the outside world.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, that's right. Because I love the conversation that he was having. That was my favorite part.
Yeah.
What am I doing here? But yeah, she won't even let me fly home.
Yeah,
I
it was pretty
probably my
amazing.
favorite episode of that whole
Mm.
thing. I love the nostalgia of a lot of it, but that episode is probably my favorite.
Yeah.
That's besides the
There's
yeah,
a lot of good ones, but that's up there.
but yeah. I had to throw that out there because this movie, from what I've read so far, does a good job on that. Those little hints sparkled
Yeah.
out,
Mhm.
and that keeps my interest. And when you have the big reveal at the end, it becomes even more shocking because it's like, how did I not catch this the first time?
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
All right. Well, you wanna move on, take the next one?
sure. Um, I kind of want to talk about Monsters University
Let's go
because
for it.
that one, the moment you said we were going to do movies saved by the ending, I actually thought of Monsters University.
Mhm.
And it definitely makes sense because in this situation, if they were to get the job, that'd be such a cliche thing, and it would kind of make kind of everything they did pointless because there's no like throughout the movie, there's no
Right.
consequence. They
Yeah.
didn't get consequences on them. Whereas in this, because they got expelled from Monster University,
Mhm.
spoilers. But who hasn't seen this? Come on, guys.
Yeah. It's like a
You're like,
10-year-old Pixar movie. Come on.
uh, because they got expelled, instead, what happened, instead of the dean letting them back in and stuff, she gave them a connection to Monsters Inc. so
Mhm.
they can work their way up, which I feel like
Yep.
builds their character. And it actually goes to, for me, when you go back and watch Monsters Inc., it's like these guys became the best because they started from the bottom.
Mhm.
They didn't like graduate highest in their class. As a matter of fact, they got kicked out like a
Mhm.
bunch of losers. But they did it. They built their way up and it built their character for the next one, which for a prequel, I really liked it.
Yeah. I mean, I liked most of the movie throughout. It's got a lot of funny moments, but that's kind of all you can say about it. It's funny, but I mean, nothing that's going to really leave an impact. But then do you remember that scene where they go to the real world, our world, and Mike's sitting at the lake talking about how he's never going to make it? You remember how, like, oh, this just got really real. And then do you remember how they actually made it really tense with those scares at the very end? Like, all of a sudden, it just became a completely different movie. It became really good. And then that, like, like, they hit it right on the end. It was perfect. The ending of, hey, they're always hiring in the mailroom. And then you
Yeah.
see them work their way up. It was funny, it was heartwarming, it shows their bond and their different strengths, how they work together. It was a perfect ending for a prequel to Monsters Inc. because it puts them where we remember them. But given the premise of the film, no one was going to guess that they get there by getting kicked out and starting in the mailroom. But it
Yeah,
made sense.
yeah, and I thought when I first saw the trailer for the movie, I
Mm.
thought when I like, okay, so they are going to graduate. Something's going to happen.
Hmm.
They're going to have a potential expulsion, but then they're going to get back and they get their hire and get what they want. Classic Pixar.
Hijinks will ensue.
Mhm. But in this case, no, they failed, which
Yeah.
is a good moral to the story as well, because it's like even if you didn't make it,
Hmm.
you can work your way back up, which is great. And that ending really did make the movie entertaining, but as far as story wise go, it would have been bland
Yeah.
if they did it the other way. And
Hmm.
I'm glad they did. But yeah, oh man, that that ending scene when they're in in our world, that was got
Hmm.
intense.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
you seeing police officers walking around with guns inside there, it's like, ooh, they're about to get shot.
Mm.
I thought for
But you
sure that.
totally believe that, the setup of the scare and everything, it was putting Mike's knowledge and Sully's talent to good use. It was perfect synergy. It was amazing.
Which is why they're the best in Monsters Inc.
Hmm. Hmm.
They've experienced a real threat, not children.
Uh-huh.
Blew up a freaking room.
Oh man, it was wonderful. All right. Do you have anything else to say? You want to move on?
I'm done to move on. I got nothing else. Besides, I really
Okay.
want to pet Sully because he looks like the fluffiest thing out there.
Yes, truth. Okay, let's move on to This one might be a little controversial for some people, but I want you to hear me out. Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Now, when I first watched Rogue One, I thought the first act was interesting. Seeing all that stuff on Jeddah and maybe some bad rebels. I loved that bit with Cassian shooting the guy in the back. It was really interesting. I'm like, I wonder where they're going to take it from here. Other than spoilers, everyone dies. I kind of figured that going in. But it was interesting, but it didn't feel like there was a lot of substance behind it. Like Jyn sees the hologram of her father for the first time in years, and she starts tearing up. And then that's the only time she really expresses emotion in the movie. I'm just like, oh, that was it? Okay. And then the second act is just like, you're no better than a stormtrooper. This is getting really boring and really muddled, and I don't care about these characters. I just wasn't buying it. But then they go to Scarif, and they combine a heist with an awesome like Vietnam War style action scene. Becomes an awesome ground battle. Then the cavalry comes flying in with one of the greatest space battles in Star Wars history. They kill off characters in memorable, emotional ways. It was funny. It was action packed. It was exciting. It was tense. And that cherry on top. Oh, one of the greatest Darth Vader scenes ever. It was you're broadcasting from the void of night back there, and now it's bright heavenly light. But yeah, that's man, Rogue One, that third act, one of the best in Star Wars history. If you're going to have a great ending to a movie, you walk out of there, you're like, oh my gosh, that was the greatest thing ever. We need to go watch it again. And honestly, I think most of the goodwill that Rogue One has in the Star Wars community is because you walk out of that on such a high note. Man, I could talk about the ending to Rogue One all day.
Okay, sorry, side note. You said Vietnam when you're talking about the Battle of Scarif. I had to look it up, and there is a video, Battle of Scarif, Fortunate Son.
Oh, that's perfect. I'll have to watch it.
When you said Vietnam, it was like, there's got to be a Fortunate Son somewhere around here.
Yeah.
I will send you the link later.
Okay, that's good.
Oh my gosh, I'm happy. That's gonna be hilarious.
All right, what do you think about the ending of Rogue One?
Which part? Are you specifically talking about Darth Vader? Because obviously that's
in general. I don't know. Say what you want.
In general, I liked it because one, it tied into A New Hope really well.
Yes.
Because they even said like a lot of rebels died.
Mm-hmm.
Get this, and next they got like nuked.
Yeah.
A lot.
Mm-hmm.
They even lost part of a fleet trying to get.
Yeah. They lost a lot of ships. They won, but that's such a cost.
Yeah. Not at what cost? At such a cost. But I appreciated the fact that the main characters didn't get off a good death. Like, it's sad when you get connected to a character and they die. However, if it's done properly, I actually appreciate it more than if they lived.
Yeah.
Like, to kind of throw this out there, I kind of wish Finn bit the dust in The Last Jedi.
And when he's flying towards the cannon.
Yeah.
He doesn't really do anything in Rise of Skywalker. He doesn't have an arc. He doesn't really do anything. So it would have been nice to go out on a high note instead of being useless in the next movie.
Well, and also, like, with this death there, it could have affected Rey more. It could have built more to her character.
Right. Because remember, she ends Force Awakens by saying, I'll see you again. And then if she didn't?
Yeah. And then it would give, for the next movie, a chance of battle against her own dark side.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
The death can go a long way. I mean, they had so much potential with these characters, but that's a completely different episode that we've already done.
You and I disagree very much on Last Jedi, but this is something we do agree on. That would have been a very compelling moment.
Yeah, and I feel like it would have been a great lead-in. But go back to Rogue One. With that ending, it's good that everyone died because it goes to show the sacrifice it took to bring down the Empire. Because if it wasn't for them, they wouldn't have gotten the plans. They wouldn't have been able to destroy the first Death Star.
Right. Because if you look at A New Hope, you look at the sacrifice in that movie, Alderaan, well, blowing up of Alderaan didn't really have any impact on whether or not they stopped the Empire at the end. Vader cutting down Obi-Wan doesn't really have an impact on them blowing up the Death Star at the end. But the sacrifice in Rogue One very much does have an impact on them all.
And not to mention, it goes to show how bad the Empire is.
Yeah.
Because look at how they were all trying to get away so fast when Darth Vader entered the hallway. I can't blame them. How tall is Darth Vader? He's like 6'9"?
6'8", I believe, is his canon height in the suit.
Yeah, so imagine that big character. It's kind of dark in the room. Like, okay, what happened? Power off? R2.
The thudding boots. You hear that breath.
Then you just see red.
Yeah.
Like, that is terrifying. And it goes to show that how dangerous the Empire is, that these rebels were so willing to just look at Darth Vader and like blast him and start shooting at him. Even though they all know they were going to die. Then you got that one guy run down the hallway trying like, take it. And he closes the door. He doesn't even say, let me in. He says, take it, get out of here.
Right.
So just that whole sacrifice really ties it into like, this is intense and I can see why they want to bring down the Empire. It's not simply, you're taxing us too much. No, it's...
Which they probably were, but...
Probably. They're like, where's your Imperial credits? I left them with my Republic credits back in my ship you destroyed. But in this case, probably.
Yeah.
It happened. It was probably Lando. Lando.
You just pull a reverse Han.
Oops. Yeah. See, well, it's funny because I went to go say Lando, but I immediately thought Hondo because Hondo would do the same thing.
Yeah.
I love Hondo. If you have a VR Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, Hondo's in it. It's great.
Yes.
I love it.
It's wonderful. Jim Cummings is great.
Oh, yeah. But anyways, yeah, with these guys dying, it puts more of a threat. Like, these rebels, this must be so bad that these rebels are willing to die for it. Just, hey, we're going to throw bodies at Darth Vader till he collapses, but then he's just going to laugh. Or not even laugh. He's just going to be like, I'm surrounded by fear and dead bodies. Still my favorite line.
It's great.
From one of the comics.
Yep.
But that's all.
Battle of Rogus Boss. Yeah. Rogue One, it was setting us up to be fine at best and disappointing at worst. But that ending, man, what a home run. All right.
That category too? Do you think Solo would fall into that same category? Like the whole movie? Or do you think it is a good example of how it was not?
No. Like I'd say a lot of the same stuff could be said about Solo. It's fun. It's not a whole lot of anything super special. And there's a few moments where you're just like, really? Like that's how he got his name? Just say his last name is Solo. Who cares? But then that ending, well, not just the Darth Maul bit at the end, and not just him shooting first, but like that whole confrontation in the office. Like, I have no idea what's going to happen other than the fact that Han and Chewie live. I don't know which side these characters are going to end up on, who's going to betray who's going to kill who. It became a lot of fun.
Okay, yeah, because I was kind of curious because I know we were talking about, and I was kind of sad that Solo got such a bad review because I actually like the movie.
Right.
But I was kind of curious what your thoughts were for the ending.
Yeah.
I mean, as a fan of Darth Maul, I was happy about it.
Yeah, that reveal, I mean, it works great in the lore. It was totally unexpected, but talking about setups like we did earlier, there are a few little nuggets sprinkled throughout, like when Dryden Boss says, hey, you know who I work for and how I need this. And then you're like, oh yeah, I wouldn't want to disappoint Maul either.
Well, and especially if you watch, like if you were to go back and watch the Star Wars Clone Wars series, which, by the way, 7th season, I know the whole like Ahsoka with the sister things was kind of
right,
but the whole deal with Darth Maul, and then you like think about Solo, it's like, oh yeah, I wouldn't.
that fits his MO. Ever since he came back in Clone Wars, he sets up criminal empires to try and gain as much power as he can. So should have seen it coming in Solo, but no one did.
No, which was great.
Yeah.
So I guess that's another good example of a movie that was
Yeah.
saved by for those who
Yeah.
are huge fans.
Mhm. All right, we got two left. You want to choose which one of those you want to talk about?
Yeah. I'm gonna go. I'll do Onward
Okay.
because
Yep.
I didn't get a chance to finish the other one.
Which is going to be perfect for a last one for us to do, but we'll talk about that in a second. For now, let's talk about Onward.
Now, I don't know about you, but I actually did. I really liked Onward. It was fun. It was a fun little
Yeah.
movie. But yeah, as far as the ending, that really did sell it. Because once again, going back to how Monsters University, it's like you got your typical ending, but then you have a really good ending. And we don't have to do spoiler warning for this, do we?
I don't know. It's on Disney Plus. It came out last year. If you haven't seen it, go watch it.
So here's your warning.
Mhm.
Where the brother, played by Tom Holland, the younger brother, instead of going to see his dad, he decides to go help out his mom.
And keep in mind, premise of the movie: two brothers. They get a chance to do a magic spell to bring their dad back. The younger brother, played by Tom Holland, he died when his mom was still pregnant with him, so he has never met his father. The older brother, played by Chris Pratt, I was thinking Peter, but no, that's Guardians of the Galaxy. He
Played by Peter Quill, who's
yes,
also Chris Pratt.
exactly, yeah. He was young when his dad died, but he does remember him. But he remembers him as being really sick. As a little kid, he was kind of scared of what he looked like, when he was dying at the end. He didn't get a good chance to say goodbye. And so, like you were saying, the younger brother who never got to meet him says it's more important that he gets to say goodbye to him. He goes help his mom.
Which is good, great because, um, for the older brother's sake, he actually got to see his dad, but not in the light that he could have.
Yeah.
So it was a great kind of self-sacrifice there.
Mhm.
We're talking about self-sacrifice with Rogue One. This is kind of the same situation, just less death. It's more of already dead.
Mhm.
But the brother finally gets to see his dad, the oldest brother, played by Chris Pratt, gets to see his dad and actually get to talk to him. And I think what makes it so special too is the fact that you get to see the dad's character within the older brother throughout the whole movie.
Yeah.
Talking about magic, talking about all this fun stuff, going on adventures, which is something that his dad always did and enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, the younger brother is not all about that. He's more like his mom, who is just like, that's not real. It's not realistic. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm just
We live in the real world. Come on.
hmm So it was great tie-in, great closure to see the older brother get to meet with his dad, who is so alike. And
And
then
they don't pull a quick one where they say, it's okay. You still get to talk to him anyway. You made the right choice, and as a reward, you get to talk to him. No, it's he legitimately doesn't get a chance to ever see his dad. He actually does have to sacrifice that.
and the nice thing is too is that he still gets his closure because he realizes that his brother has been there for him this whole time. Because that's the reason why he wanted his dad, is because his dad would seem like somebody who'd always be there. Whereas, I mean, his mom was too, but if his family never felt complete. I mean, she had
Right.
dating again,
Mhm.
the Centaur Sheriff, which I found absolutely hilarious.
Yep.
Who was that? Who was he played by?
I can't remember.
Anyways, yeah, you guys can look it up. But
Yeah.
yeah, like that self-sacrifice, but then the realization, like it gives you that closure while seeing the passion behind sacrificing it.
Mhm. Yeah. The movie
Plus,
starts out. Oh, go
plus his
ahead.
mom died, so you know.
Yeah. Yeah. The movie starts out pretty generic, but as it goes on, it gets funnier and funnier and funnier.
I
But it
love the
gets
boss where he sacrifices the bus.
yes, yes. Oh, I love it.
Oh,
But
like,
it gets more and more emotional, and then it's a fantasy movie, so at the end they have to fight a dragon. Big whoop. That fight with the dragon was so creative and imaginative. I've never seen anything like it. It was great.
yeah, it wasn't like an actual legit organic dragon. It was like
Yeah,
I'm gonna pull all these Lego pieces like a master builder from. Oh, hey,
yeah.
Chris, nice to meet you. And then start
made
like
out
building.
of all this junk and parts of buildings and all this stuff. It was really, really cool.
Hagrid still would want to like have it as a pet, but
Yes.
it was a dragon of parts, which was so creative. And the
Mhm.
fact that how you had to kill it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kinda cool, too. You had to strike a core,
Mhm.
which the what the manticore? Yeah, it was a manticore that had to send people on quests. That was hilarious too.
Mhm.
The
That
whole
was fun. Yeah.
the whole movie was just fun, especially if you're like a D&D or fantasy lover.
Yes. The whole thing was very much based off of what it's like to play D&D.
Mhm. And the fact they had their own D&D version there that the brother was so adamant about. He's like,
Mhm.
now we gotta. He was like the DM throughout the whole entire adventure. Now we
Yeah.
gotta find the lake. So Chris
Mhm.
Pratt and Tom Holland did a great job, in my opinion.
Great job. Yeah.
Or am I just going
All right.
crazy?
Well, I don't know. Maybe you are going crazy because I didn't see or hear anything. Um, look behind you. Just kidding. Um, all right, let's start wrapping up here. Talk about our last one. I actually want you to. What's France doing down there? I want to get your point of view on this. So this is a movie that Robert started watching today, but hasn't finished yet. You haven't seen the ending yet. So with that in mind, tell us what you think about 2014's Godzilla.
I mean, I so far I'm kind of enjoying it. I was kind of watching it on the side while trying to build up my my desk here,
Sure.
but like so far I'm kind of into it. Like, did it
Yeah,
get good reviews or something? What was the?
it got positive reviews, but they weren't overwhelmingly positive. It was pretty meh. Like it's good.
I
Yeah.
mean, for me, it seems kind of like a generic Godzilla movie so far.
Hmm.
Or oh, big
How
mud.
much how much Godzilla do you see in it?
I haven't. I mean, besides the very beginning where they nuked it, I haven't really seen much of it.
No.
The part I got to was when they arrested the brother and dad,
Hmm.
and they're interrogating him, and the dad's like going off on them. He's like, "All the vibrations, that's what started the whole thing last." And then it just
Hmm.
started happening right there and then, and the guy's looking at it like, "Oh no."
Yeah.
He's so that's the part I ended because that's when we had to do this.
Hmm.
Once again, sorry everyone that we didn't go live. Due to
Right.
technical next week though.
Next
Sorry.
week.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's like it's good. It's certainly good, but bit of spoiler, you don't really see Godzilla throughout almost the entire movie. Like you'll see people watching the news, and on the news they're like, "Oh my gosh, there's so much destruction. It's really cool, man. You sure wish you could see this." But they don't show them. The whole thing, you're just like, "Are we gonna see Godzilla in this Godzilla movie?"
hilarious. You should have
But
seen
then
it if only you were
that
there.
ending, oh man, it's Godzilla taking on two giant kaiju, and he's doing some stuff that you've never seen before, like grabbing their jaws and tearing them open and using his atomic breath down their throats.
Wait,
It
are you
is
serious?
glorious. Yeah, it's fantastic. Like,
Dude,
look
that's
at
like
his
my
face.
favorite thing
Look
from
at
my
that.
child. That's my favorite thing from my childhood is just freaking monsters and giant robots. So I freaking love this.
Uh-huh.
Not for the storyline, but for the monsters and robots.
Yeah,
I am
yeah.
excited for this. I want to see. So wait, are the monsters the one causing the vibrations then?
It's Godzilla. It's also monsters. You'll see. You'll see.
But they're duking it out down below, and then it's like, hey guys,
Kind of. Yeah, yeah.
we're having a boxing match.
Yep.
Oh, we need to end this episode so I can watch that.
All right. Well, yeah. Speaking of good endings, kind of what we talked about earlier. Man, the ending of a movie can change everything about it. They're so important, as we've talked about here. A lot of these movies we liked a lot before the endings, but the ending changes everything.
Mhm. I mean, yeah, like we said for Rogue One, I think that's the best example I can give. Or actually,
Mhm.
I don't know. A straight story was a pretty good example. If he was
Yeah.
dead when he showed up. But, for Rogue One, if everyone lived, it kind of would have been a pointless sacrifice. It wouldn't have really fit. But yeah,
Yeah.
endings make a huge difference,
Hmm.
especially if
Yeah.
there's a twist.
Yes. So, yeah. If you want to go ahead in the comments, leave us some of your choices for what you think were okay or even bad movies that became good or great with the ending. Make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and we'll see you next week.
Hmm. Should we tell them the time for next week?
Yes. What time?
So 6:30 Mountain Standard Time. next Thursday, we will go live. We're going to look at YouTube. It said that we had to wait 24 hours before we can start doing live stream for our first one. So
it's all YouTube's fault.
It's all YouTube's fault. And technical difficulties. My streamer was being dumb, so I'm going to fix that. Yep. But yeah, next week, and we'll hopefully be able to take chat next week.
Yeah, so, that'll be fun.
There, if you have any, do we have another episode? Do you have something already planned for next week?
We can talk about that after.
Okay, but probably Monday. I'll announce it on Facebook and Instagram. Follow us on our Instagram page, World of Cinematics, and then you can follow us on Twitter as well, so you can get heads up there.
Yep, it's at of Cinematics.
At of Cinematics. So follow us there, like, subscribe, comment. I'm not fidgeting as much as I usually do. That's about it. All right.
Well, we'll let you get back to it so that you can finally finish watching Godzilla and see that glorious, glorious ending for yourself. In the meantime, this has been the World of Cinematics signing off. Bye.